Meeting come to order. Have the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everybody. We're here tonight at 6:30 p.m. up at Chichester Township, January 12th, 2023, for a hearing of the Board of Commissioners regarding the Quiche Associates LP petition for the conditional use approval per zoning ordinance number 678 adopted December 13, 2012. Section 600-63A, Intermediate and Group Daycare Center, and Section 600-63B, Child Daycare Center for the property located at Namens Creek Center, Lot 3A, parcel ID 09001035-06, zoned IC, Industrial Commercial District. George, can you do roll call before we get started?
Commissioner Bacco,
Here.
Commissioner Gaudioso,
Here.
Commissioner Bukowski,
Here.
Commissioner Neary,
Here.
Commissioner Whitaker,
Here.
Lisa Catania.
Here.
Michael Pierce.
Here.
Myself, George Needles, present.
And also, before we get started tonight, we'll have public comment, and I'll open those phone lines up and public comment here tonight on the floor after the presentation from Ms. Debbie. And we'll have the public comment only just for the hearing, and then we'll open our other meeting at 7:30. All yours.
Go ahead. Yeah, at this time, we're going to be having a public hearing. Any comments that are made for this evening will be related only to the conditional use hearing for Namens Creek Center, Lot 3A. As the Board of Commissioners has a packet of exhibits before them that have been presented by the applicant at one point in time or another, we'll go through, and the township exhibits will be the conditional use application. Number 2, or Exhibit B, will be the deed. Exhibit C will be the preliminary saldo zoning review. Exhibit D will be the preliminary saldo engineering review. Letter E, Exhibit E will be the letter from the owner. Letter F would be the zoning officer property posting. Letter G would be the list of property owners within a 500 square foot radius. Letter H would be the neighbor notification letter. Letter I would be the newspaper legal posting, which is the affidavit of advertisement pursuant to the municipality's planning code. J would be the affidavit actually from the newspaper. I is actually the advertisement that was placed in the paper. K would be the certified mail receipts and return cards, which will be submitted at the hearing. And L is the site plan and the saldo plans. The board should have copies of these plans in the initial submission. All these exhibits will be made part of the record pursuant to this conditional use hearing. At this point in time, I'd ask the applicant, whoever's going to present, to come forward, just introduce themselves and go forward with their presentation.
Hi, good evening.
You're on.
I'm on? Okay. Deborah Shulsky with the firm of Riley Riper, Hahn and Caligreco, here on behalf of the applicant. Also with me this evening on behalf of the property owner is Anthony Diver. On behalf of Ducklings Learning Center is Jody Thompson. And our site designer is Matt Witters. And they'll all be briefly testifying in a moment once I get through my preliminary remarks. As was indicated, we're here obviously for conditional use approval to permit a proposed group daycare facility on property known as Lot A, Namens Creek Center. I believe the commissioners are all fairly familiar with this particular property. I'm sure the commissioners are also very well versed with the conditional use in terms of knowing that it is a permitted use subject to compliance with the applicable specific ordinance criteria. In this situation, there are several specific criteria in the ordinance that we'll be going through this evening as part of our testimony to show that we demonstrate compliance with those standards. And then there's also what we call the general ordinance standards with respect to the health, safety, and welfare. Once the applicant satisfies its burden of proof of demonstrating compliance with the specific ordinance standards, it's determined to be that the use is inherently beneficial and suitable for the neighborhood because the board has zoned it as a conditional use. But we do feel that it is an appropriate and suitable use and one that's in very well need at this time. And with that introduction, unless you have any initial questions for me, we can jump right into the testimony. And just a housekeeping item, I did want to send out cards and the notice that staff was sent out after the notice. We also have copies that are submitted in your package.
And this would be Township Exhibit K would be the originals.
So the first witness I would call is Anthony Diver on behalf of the landowner. Where do you want Mr. Diver to stand? He will be. Interfere.
Before we begin, we'll have all the witnesses that are going to testify sworn in at once. It'll be a little bit easier, I think.
Anthony Diver.
Proceed, please.
And could you state again for the record your full name and business address, please?
Anthony Diver, the owner of Kish Associates LP, address 1390 Birmingham Road, Westchester, PA 19382.
And what is your role with respect to this application?
I'm the property owner and developer.
And Kirsch Associates LP, the deed for the property is marked as Exhibit A4. Is that correct?
Yes,
And is it your intent to lease the property to Ducklings Early Learning Center for construction and operation of a daycare?
yeah, we're going to do a build-to-suit lease for Ducklings.
And have you done other similar sites for Ducklings in Delaware County?
We recently completed one in September down in Nether Providence Township, Wallingford. We've done two others, one in East Goshen and one in West Whiteland. This will be our fourth.
And can you explain why you think this particular property would be a great location for the daycare use?
I purchased the property 2 years ago, and I've explored several options for developing that specific property. And due to the limitations of the site, pipelines, easements, we weren't able to really develop a office or warehouse at that location. Since we were working with Ducklings on numerous other sites, we introduced it. We ran the demographics, and it was a good fit for the location. Where we're proposing.
Okay, that's all the questions I have of this witness.
Any questions of the board?
That's it? No.
Dr. Lee, engineer, any questions?
Next witness is Jody Thompson. Can you please state your name and address for the record?
I'm Jody Thompson. I'm at 723 Shag Park Drive in Westchester, 19382.
With whom are you employed and in what capacity?
I own all of Ducklings Early Learning Center, so I'm employed by J. Thompson Child Services, as well as J. Thompson Learning Centers, which is the franchise.
And could you just give the board a little bit of background about Ducklings Early Learning Center in terms of how long you've been in business and where some of your other locations?
Currently, we have 11 operating centers. 3 of them are corporate owned and 8 of them are franchised. We are mostly in southern Chester County, with 1 in Longwood, 1 in Landenberg, 3 in Westchester. We're out in Lancaster County, and And then the one in Delaware County is Wallingford. And
And in terms of the proposed, the subject property that's currently being reviewed by the commissioners this evening, could you explain for them some of the operational aspects of what you are proposing in terms of the number of students, the hours of operation, how many teachers you're going to have, some of those details that they'd be interested in knowing about?
all of my centers are open from 7 a.m. in the morning until 6 p.m. in the evening. We are not there late at night and we're not there on weekends. We currently at this building, we're looking to have a maximum capacity of about 138 children. And we're looking for 22 staff to be on site at any one time.
Now, you're licensed by the state, is that correct?
Yes. When you license a child care center in the state of Pennsylvania, it's under OCDEL, the Office of Child Development and Early Learning Center. And that's what our licensing agent is.
And what is your protocol with respect to how the children are accessing the building?
We require that the parents walk their children into the building. So the parents park their car, get out, have the child walk in, and then they physically hand them over to the teacher so that we know at all times who has custody of that child at that moment for supervision. So they walk in, they say hello to the teacher, they hand the child off, they sign the child in, the teacher signs the child into that classroom. At the end of the day, it's reversed, where they walk in again, the teacher is signing the child out of the classroom and handing them back to the parent, and the parent is signing them out of the building. So it's kind of a double fold. But that way, we know exactly who has the child at any one time.
And as part of the proposal, there'll also be a fenced-in outside play area. Is that correct?
Yes. When the parents are bringing the children in, there is a keypad system. So all families are given a unique code to be able to enter the building. And then a child has their own code to log them in and out. So that adds to the security. All of the doors are accessed only by a key code. So no one can come in a back door or a side door from the play yard. The play yard is fenced. We separate our play yards into two areas, one for the preschoolers because they use different type of apparatus, and then one for the toddlers to keep everything safe and everything age appropriate.
And in terms of the building itself, I assume you have a prototype building that you typically would construct. You have to be diverse sometimes. We have one that we like to use. Mr. Dibber has built 3 centers for us, and 1 center in East Goshen. This is taken from that prototype. It's just a little bit smaller because we decided East Goshen was a little too big. And so we're keeping it a little bit smaller, but it has everything that we need in it. And it's a familiar floor plan. And I'm showing you what's been marked as Exhibit A6, and this is one from a facility in Town Township. But is that kind of generally what you expect the elevation to be
Yes.
similar to?
Yes.
That's all the questions I have in this witness. Mike, what are you saying?
Any questions from the board at this time?
Yes, Ms. Thompson, could you stay up there for a minute, please? There are a couple of questions from the board.
What were the hours of operation again?
7 a.m. to 6 p.m.
7 to 6, 7 in the morning to 6 at night.
Yes.
And then the plot plan that you provided, I just want to make sure there's an old historical structure out there. That doesn't fall within your plotted area, does it? I just want to double check.
That might be more of a
Okay.
question for our project. And
My engineer just said that it does not. I'm just double checking. That's all. Thank you.
Any other questions? I have a question, Ms. Thompson, first. Some of the locations you have already of the centers, Longwood, out in that area, Chester County. Why Upper Chichester? Only because the community here is a very working class, hardworking. How's the feasibility for the families in this area to be able to afford this? Your facility? I mean,
All of the buildings, we are in a lot of different areas. And so we're always looking at the area that we're going into, and we're sure that we're not going to price this out to where the families can't afford us. So we have one scale in, say, Westchester. There's a little bit lower scale in the Kennett Square area. I have a center out in Oxford that is lower still, and Landenberg. So we adjust to the community we're going into. It doesn't mean that we adjust our program. The program is exactly the same. It's just that exactly that. We have to make sure that the families can afford us. And we provide quality care. That's where we're here. And that's what our passion is to be able to do that and provide that for the children.
okay. Thank you. Any other board members?
Yeah, I have a question. What are the ages?
We started 6 weeks and go up to pre-K. We don't have a licensed kindergarten on site.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions from the engineer?
Yes, the one question that I do have is, right now, looking at the site plan, the plot plan, you're talking about a maximum of 138 children. Typically, what would be the ratio of families that would go in there? Are we looking at a maximum of 138 cars, vehicles that are coming, or what's a typical? You'll have to excuse me, I only had one child and he did not have daycare. So I this is unfamiliar territory for me.
I think most of our families have two children. We have, of course, some one child families, and we have some three children families. So, but I would say, if I had to say a majority, I would say they mostly have two.
And you feel that the amount of parking that's on this lot is sufficient for people coming in? What is the time frame that most of your clients bring their children?
We ask for all the children to be in by 9 o'clock in the morning for morning meeting. But we have to remember, when the families are coming in the morning, they're only bringing the children in, dropping them off, and then they have to get to work. So they're only parking for 5 minutes. They have the parking space, they leave, the next person comes in. And then the same thing at the end of the day. Most of our children start to get picked up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon until 6. So it's the same way in the afternoon. We have the families that are coming in, but now they've just worked all day. So they're not ready to hang out with us, okay? They want to come in, they want to get their child, they want to get home and have dinner, or go to sports for their older children. So it's not like anybody comes in and spends a whole lot of time in the building. So that parking space is constantly used.
And it sounds like it's staggered time, so it's not like everybody's coming in at 7 or 8 or 9. You're having
It's
throughout that
gradual.
period in
It's
the morning
gradual, yeah.
and afternoon.
It's gradual throughout the morning from 7 a.m. We have some people that are sitting in the parking lot waiting for us to unlock the doors at 7. And then we have others that are scooting in the door at 5 minutes to 9, so the child's in morning meeting.
Okay.
Any additional questions at all? Thank you.
Could you please state your name and address for the record?
Name is Matthew Witters. The address, the business address is 607 Easton Road. It's Willow Grove, PA, 19090.
And with
Yes.
whom are you employed in what capacity?
Eustace Engineering, and I'm a senior project manager.
And I'm showing you what's marked as Exhibit A7. Is that a copy of your CV?
Yes, it is.
You had a number of years of experience in designing sites and testifying before municipalities similar to Upper Chichester. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Does the commissioners have any questions about Mr. Witter's qualifications?
I don't have a question about his qualifications, but I do have another question. With the 322 project coming along, I believe there might be some takes land-wise. Have you taken that into consideration for setbacks?
We have, and that's actually incorporated into the plans you have in front of you.
Thank you.
I would just request that Mr. Witters be accepted as a expert in site design.
He would be approved as a site design expert.
Mr. Witters, could you just generally give an overview for the board of where this property is located and what the existing conditions are on the property?
Sure. The property is located on the northwest corner of Conchester Highway and Creek Parkway, Conchester being Route 322. The site's approximately 3.85 acres, just shy of 4 acres. It's undeveloped. It looked like one of the last undeveloped lots within the Namens Creek Center, which is a commercial complex. It consists of a multitude of uses. There's an entrance to the property that was built as part of the original design of the park. That's at the northeast corner of the property. There is a small stormwater basin on the east side of the site. There is a larger stormwater basin on the north side of the site. The two are interconnected and function together. Within those two stormwater basins, there are pockets of wetlands as well. There is an existing easement that runs through sort of the northern 2/3 of the site from east to west that is an access easement for Lot 3, which is to the east, to the west of our site. It's also an undeveloped.
And the existing conditions that you just testified to, they're shown on an aerial plan, existing conditions plan that's part of the land development plan set, which we have a portion of that marked as Exhibit A5. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
Okay. And you understand the property is located in the industrial commercial zoning district? Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
And you understand that we're here before this board, obviously, for conditional use approval to permit the proposed daycare use.
Correct.
Now, referring to sheet 3 of the plan set marked as Exhibit A5, which is the site plan from the land development set, could you please describe for the commissioners what is proposed as part of this application?
Sure. As has been described, there is a proposed new building. It's just shy of 12,000 square feet, 11,990 square feet to be used for a group daycare facility with an small outdoor play area. And along with that, we're going to propose a parking lot in front of that site, in front of that building. The parking lot consists of 46 new parking spaces. 24 would be required for the square footage of the building and 22 for the staff. That's anticipated. And a two-way access driveway off of Creek Parkway, utilizing that aforementioned curb cut that's there along Creek Parkway in the north end of the site.
And you may have mentioned this, but there's also a proposed fenced-in play area as part of the proposal, correct?
That's correct. It's located behind the building furthest away from Creek Parkway right now.
And the plans, I believe, currently show that that area is 5,000 square feet. Is it possible that that may, during the course of the land development, be further tweaked and perhaps maybe reduced in size?
That is my understanding. Yeah, we would go down maybe as small as 4,000 square feet as part of the ongoing land development.
But it would still comply with any requirements with respect to the amount of students utilizing that area, correct?
That's correct. Yep.
Does the plan comply with all applicable area and bulk requirements of the zoning ordinance?
Yes.
And you have a zoning data chart, I believe, on the top of sheet 3 of the plan set. Is that correct?
That's correct. It's located in the upper right-hand corner.
And you heard me mention earlier that there's some specific ordinance requirements relevant to daycare for the conditional use, correct?
That's correct.
And those requirements are set forth in section 600-191 of the zoning ordinance. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So I'm going to kind of walk you through those quickly so we can demonstrate compliance with those standards. The first is the lot size. Could you explain what the required lot size is for the proposed development and what's proposed?
Sure. The lot size is dictated by the number of children or students within the daycare. The required lot is to be 750 square feet per child. At 138 children, we'd have a lot size, a minimum lot size required of 103,500 square feet. The current lot size, existing lot size is 150,991 square feet.
And next, the ordinance requirement for the size of the outdoor play area, what is that requirement and does the proposal comply with that requirement?
Yes, the outdoor play area is required to be sized at 75 square feet per child that is using it. Right now, the current plan shows a 5,000 square foot fenced play area, which would allow 66 children at one time. As I had said, we may shrink that down to 4,000 square feet, which would allow 53 children to utilize that area at one time.
And how about the indoor play area? Does the proposal comply with that requirement?
It does, yes. The indoor play area is required to be 40 square feet per child at 138 children. The required square footage would be 5,520 square feet of indoor play area. We're proposing, or the current building footprint proposes 7,230 square feet of indoor play area, which includes classroom areas as well.
And is it your understanding that the state also dictates under the licensing requirements how much play area is required for the proposed daycare?
Yes, that's my understanding.
And you heard Ms. Thompson indicate that they would be required, obviously, to get a license through the state to operate this daycare, correct?
That's correct.
Is the property located in a residential district such that it would be prohibited from being within 500 feet of another intermediate or group daycare?
No, the property is zoned IC right now.
Would the fence surrounding the outdoor play area be at least 4 feet?
Yes, it would be.
Would the outdoor play activities be limited to the hours of 8 a.m. to 7 p.m.?
Yes,
In your opinion, would the landscape and proposed be consistent with the character of the uses adjacent to the facility?
yes.
Is there any signage proposed as part of the plan at this time?
Not at this time.
Does the parking meet the applicable parking standards of the zoning ordinance?
It does, yes.
Would the building be protected by smoke detectors and fire extinguishers as required by the ordinance?
Yes, it will be.
And you heard Ms. Thompson testify that the students, the children are required to be accompanied into the building. So is it your understanding that this use does not have a pickup or drop off accompanying it?
That is my understanding, yes.
Is the building located within 300 feet of any gasoline pumps or underground gasoline storage tanks or any other storage area for explosive materials?
No,
Now, in addition to the specific standards, which we just walked you through, you understand that there's also some general ordinance standards relative to a conditional use as set forth in section 600-190B of the zoning ordinance. Is that correct?
yes, and the development does comply.
In your opinion, would this use be appropriate for the site, given consideration to any sensitive environmental features?
Yes, we are limiting our encroachment within the existing stormwater facilities, and we are preserving the existing wetlands that are on site.
And do you believe that the use would be compatible with the character of the neighborhood and within the best interest of the health, safety, and welfare?
Yes,
In your opinion, is the use consistent with the multi-municipal comprehensive plan for Aston, Lower Chichester, and Upper Chichester?
yes, it is.
Would the use promote orderly development, population density, and the provision of adequate community facilities and services, including police and fire protection?
Yes,
And do you believe that the use is going to create any adverse impact with respect to public roads or traffic circulation?
no, it's a commercial development or a commercial use on a commercial property.
That's all the questions I have for this witness.
Any of the Board of Commissioners have questions of this witness?
I have a couple. I think there's a disconnect on the hours that he indicated they would have outside play. I believe he said till 7 p.m.
No, it was whatever the ordinance requires. It's supposed to be.
I'm just looking at the hours on the conditional use permit that says you're only going to be operating till 6. So I'm assuming you're not going to be playing.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I just disconnect. I didn't notice this when I reviewed it before. The gates on the outside, are they the ones that you're indicating are locked by key code? There are gates on the outside on either side of the outside play area. But could somebody access this coming from, in this day and age, somebody coming from Conchester Highway, snatch a child because the gates aren't secure? Okay. Right. Okay. And I'm assuming, is the height restricted to 4 feet by ordinance? Or is that something that, would be easily to go over? I think even at 72, I could clear 4 feet. Yeah, I think 4 feet is just a little low for the safety of the children, not that they're necessarily going to get out, but somebody could get in.
I believe the ordinance is at least 4 feet
Okay.
high, so
Okay, well, we may want to review that. Thanks, that's all.
that's a good point. Thank you.
Nicole? You have anything? Michael?
Did you say that there was a certain minimum distance between your proposed school and other schools?
Only in a residential district.
Okay. I think your microphone is off. I don't know if you want to try to.
It's got a green light on it. Maybe I didn't have it close enough. Sorry about that.
It's okay. So only in a residential district?
That's only applicable to a residential district, correct?
Bill, have anything?
No, sir, I think was asked by someone else.
I have a couple. You mentioned smoke detectors, but no CO detectors. Why not? Okay, because I noticed that on some of the stuff we got last week to go over. I didn't see nothing about the CO detectors.
There will be CO detectors within the building.
And any particular reason why you would do the playground area, reduce it from 5,000 to 4,000 when you
Just-
have the room?
Just based on the use, just based on, a large area is a little bit harder for the attendants to keep track of. So there is kind of a fine line to walk between too large of an area and too small of an area.
Would there be any issues of, because I do agree with some of the commissioners up here, 4 feet seems kind of low for an outside fence for kids. Would there be any?
That might be something we want to look at,
Right.
because that's all.
Because I don't even know what to do. Right, so, okay,
That's also part of the land development application, once that gets done. First step is the conditional use approval, if that happens.
Now going through all the other stuff that I had before tonight's meeting even, who has the easement? Lot 3 or 3A?
Lot 3 has the easement across Lot 3A.
Okay, across 3A,
Correct.
okay. And that still stands today?
We are honoring the easement. Yep.
Okay. Now, the only other thing I saw on this one drawing that I had earlier, I saw a fence line along the parking lot along Creek Parkway. Is there one in the front towards that faces, it really doesn't face 322 because it's on an angle here, but is there another fence that wraps the front side of that also? Or is it just along Creek Park side?
There's
Creek
a
Parkway?
fence proposed along the top of the retaining. We need a retaining wall along the front of the property in order to raise the parking lot up to an adequate level with the driveway. So there's a fence proposed at the top of the retaining wall for fall protection.
Right.
I don't recall I don't have the plan right in front of me. I don't recall if that fence wraps around to the 322 side or not, but we can do that.
I wasn't sure. I couldn't tell on the plan here. I did see it along Creek Parkway, but I didn't know if it went, I mean, the way it's angled, it really doesn't face it, but,
Right.
okay. Let me make sure I got everything else here. You answered the one question, Commissioner Guardioso said about the pump house over there. It's not on the land, so that's good. Okay. Any other questions up here, guys? I'm good. Thank you.
Any questions from the engineer?
I have a couple questions. They're more a land development question, but it's something that you brought up as part of your testimony. There is a pipeline easement that runs in front of the property, and you're asking for a waiver. You're placing the building, it's about 25 feet away from that easement area of the Buckeye pipeline. And I guess looking at the design, I don't know what the justification for that waiver is. Could you not move the building away from that? Because it appears that it's within the, you would probably not have to go as far as the access easement into lot 3. That's,
I believe that we are constrained by that access easement because there were a bunch of options looked at to keep ourselves away from the right of way. And that's something that we can work through in land development,
yeah.
right? It's something that we'll take a look at, and we have your review letter, and been working with Alex on it to get through that. And that was certainly one of the things that came up, was that waiver request.
I'm as we look at pipelines, you're always concerned. We have children that are in this. So
I would note that it is a wide pipeline right of way, and the right of way has been laid out in such a manner that we have honored as wide of an area, a wider area on our side of where the pipelines actually lay than what may actually be required for that right of way. So we've given additional space. I'm not going to say we've given additional space, but those pipelines are further into that right of way than closer to our side of that right of way. So I just want to say that.
okay. And then again, this is more of a land development question, but it's to the safety of the community in particular. We've got young children that are through here. I don't see anything as far as a secondary access and emergency access.
We've reached out to the fire marshal a number of times since receiving the review comment letter back in the early part of December and haven't received any response back. So he's on our hit list for a phone call in the next couple of days.
I will tell you, the engineers department will have that you need a second. Just so you're aware.
Well, the comment in the land development review application letter was to reach out to fire marshal for the same issue. So that's where we've been headed.
Understood. Thank you.
Well, the secondary access, and I don't want to belabor this at all. I think it's going to be tough to give a true secondary access, but we have looked at a couple of older plans where there has been like a boulevard style entrance out at the new intersection with Creek Parkway. I think we might be able to accommodate something along those lines, just to break up the in and the out at that location. Thank
You
you.
good? Okay, no, good point.
Just wanted to bring those
Right.
2
Oh,
points up
absolutely.
because it's always a concern for us.
Any other
Any
questions?
additional questions?
Yeah.
Dolsky, anything else that you wanted to say?
I do not. I would just request that our exhibits be accepted into the record.
Into the record will be exhibits A1 through A7 as submitted by the applicant for Kish Associates. They are accepted into the record. At this point in time, it would be appropriate to entertain any comment. Are you finished?
I am finished. Thank you.
Sorry, yes, I didn't mean to cut you off there. At this time, any members of the public who wish to comment or ask any questions would please approach the microphone, state your name, your address, and the nature of the question or your concern, and the applicant will attempt to answer those questions.
My name is Frank Matthews. I'm actually the center director for the kinder care that's located on 6th Creek Parkway. And I just wanted to come and express some concerns that we have with this potential plan here. I have it broken down into really kind of 4 categories at this point. One would just be the kind of strain that's already going to put on an established childcare already within the vicinity. Another would just be, at least from my amateur data pulling, the impact of tax revenue for the township with that proposal, traffic and safety concerns that we have, and then also too just a little bit of rebuttal to the little inner workings of, I guess, childcare in Delaware County, because it is a little bit different. What was described within Chester County is a little bit different, not terrible. So I just want to kind of go through some of those things.
Well, Mr. Matthews, I'm not sure that all of those items that you're indicating are appropriate for a conditional use hearing, especially the nature of whether lack of a better word, in competing daycare within the same area. I don't think that that has any bearing on a conditional use application. The other one's related to health and safety and perhaps some of the other areas that you have some questions. But if you're concerned about having another daycare in and about the same area, I'm not sure that that's an appropriate question for a conditional use hearing.
Understood. My only thing with that is it will impact their ability to staff their center as indicated in
I would be hard pressed to believe that their staffing needs are going to be dependent on whether your daycare exists in that area. But if you have something to say about that, I guess that's okay.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, my only thing with that is just that childcare employees in this area are extremely difficult to come by. I have 15. Our center has been here for 20 years, and they're proposing to have 22. I don't know in what time frame. I've had a total of 10 applicants across the last year. So again, them coming up with 22 to fulfill the needs of the plan as presented to you to the board, in my opinion at least, isn't necessarily an obtainable goal at the moment based on my particular experience. That was really the only real thing I was going to bring up at that part. It's just, yes, it's competition of staff, but knowing getting 22 teachers is going to be a pretty tall undertaking in our area.
Again, I don't know that that's an issue for a conditional use hearing, but it's on the record. So.
Okay. Well, then some of the, at least for the safety concerns and whatnot, we did talk a little bit about the 322 project. Coming in and out of this development can already be pretty difficult to do, especially at peak drop and pickup time. But as you said, like the hardworking blue collar, environment we have here, most of those parents are dropping off around 8 and picking up around 5. It's not as staggered as you would think it will be. I don't know any of you that have tried to leave here around 5 o'clock. There's already a line of cars trying to, get out of here to get out on the Chichester Avenue from Drury Road. So traffic definitely is going to be a concern with multiple people coming and going all day. Also, too, if that's the police access routes in and out, either 322 or to here, more cars on the road potentially block the possible ability for those emergency vehicles to get where they're going. Matter. Plus, are you going to have children walking back and forth, going to the bus stop or going to the park? There are no sidewalks in the area. Children are trying to walk around here, adding another child care facility, maybe doubling the amount of children in this complex. Having those traffic concerns do seem worrisome to me from a safety standpoint. You were bringing up, the 4-foot fence and people maybe being so close to 322 can come in and snatch children. There's also an increased risk of smash and grab thefts. They do target child cares because they know their parents are locking or leaving their stuff in the car, trying to go in and get out real quick with their children. So it happens. Now you're going to put another facility right on the main road, and that's going to just further give them an easier chance or a bigger target for them to accomplish that. So that's a safety concern I would raise for this particular area, and then getting right out to 322. So I think that was mainly my main concerns when it comes to the safety and the well-being. Just a couple other things I will share. Again, if they don't pertain to this hearing, I apologize right now, but this is just kind of a little bit contrary to some of the things that Ms. Thompson had presented. You did bring up the question about pay and if this area can afford it and such. Our center, 75% of our families still make enough money, so they have to accept state subsidies. So in this particular area here, most of the families in this area can't afford private paid childcare, especially at a high cost for a facility that's brand new. But I don't know how much weight that has, but again, that is something I will speak from experience being in this particular area. So that's what
Again, just for the board's edification, I don't know that that has any direct impact on a conditional use hearing for potential. That's part of a business model that the individuals choose to proceed. They've determined in their own mind that they can make it work. That is not an area that is to be considered for a conditional use at this time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jim Spadino, excuse me, 3913 Chichester Avenue. I haven't been on the zoning board up at Chuck for a long time, but I don't remember what conditional use approval. That's not changing the zoning.
That is correct.
So,
It is a permitted use with a conditional use hearing.
also, under this conditional use, you can set the time for them opening and closing, and also the age of the children now. At least opening.
I don't know about the age of the children, but you can set parameters for opening and closing if it directly impacts the health, safety, and welfare of the folks that are involved in that and would impact the use. I think the applicant has testified as to what the use is and the hours of operation. So I don't know that there's much else that you can regulate from that.
Okay, like I said, I haven't been on the zoning board such a long time, and just rules. Next question I have, I'm looking, they were kind enough to give me the plot plan here, and I'm assuming that the wetlands aren't going to be touched at all, correct? That you don't have to add to. Now, Ms. Catania said something about the secondary exit. And looking at this plot plan, I'm assuming that if I'm reading this right, the existing right of way for the Buckeye Partnership, that's where actually the pipe is under, am I correct? Okay, your setback going partially through the school. I mean, is that present a problem? But you're requesting a setback for that. Okay. Next one, with the driveway coming in, now with the secondary one, how much bigger would you have to make that driveway for an entrance and an exit? Is there a possibility that would hit the wetlands? Okay, but if they need a wider driveway to come in and out, and it affects the wetlands. My concern was to the safety of the children. For the record, I have the daycare center on Chichester Avenue. And I'm concerned about the school buses that go across on Chichester Avenue. I've seen I've seen cars pick up the red lights and up on the buses and just jog right through. I've seen cars that don't realize the bus is stopped and has to go pull on the other lane going eastbound to go back on westbound lane. So my concern was for the school buses, but if you're only staying up to preschool, that's why I asked about the age of the children. Or are you saying you're only going to stay up to preschool? If the approval, would the approval, can the commissioner state that the approval only goes up to preschool and not before and after school? Because I'm like I said, I see every day these cars go right by school buses. I'm just thinking of a school bus on Conchester Avenue having to make a left-hand turn, especially with the driveway that now may have to be split and make wider and split into an entrance and exit. I mean, I've seen so many near accidents with there. I mean, and you're talking to Conchester now, not Chichester Avenue, plus whatever work they're going to do on Conchester.
Jim, I'm not sure if there's a bus route that goes up 322,
Well,
but we can check.
If they go and take before and after school kids. The school district will bus kids to their daycares. And that's where they don't have it now, but they could have.
Okay.
I
Okay,
believe
that was
that
my-
the
Oh,
applicant
that-
has indicated that they have only toddlers and preschool, so any conditional use would be based on testimony that would be given. If another operator came in to the site, then they would have to go through a second conditional use hearing because the use would be changed in a significant way. So again, I don't know that that is a relevant issue at this point.
Well, like I said, my concern was the school buses going across the kids there, and also seeing a right of way with the waiver for that pipeline. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just to clarify, on the school bus, there is one that comes, they come to our center. So that added traffic with the school bus stop is still going to be a valid issue, even if they don't necessarily have a before and after school program.
Is there any other public comment here tonight for the conditional use hearing? If not, I have to go to the phone lines, open up the phone lines for any public comment just for the conditional use that we're here for tonight. And let me try to find this number here. By dialing 571-748-4021. Again, that number is 571-748-4021. Enter in 357-1690 # By entering again 357-1690 # is the code. To unmute your phone, dial *6. After unmuting your phone, state your name and address for public comment just on this conditional hearing tonight. The lines will be open for a few minutes. Take note, there was no phone calls coming in tonight for the condition in hearing.
At this point in time, it would be appropriate to close the record at this point unless council has any additional comments or wishes to address any of the issues associated with that.
Just wanted to reinforce again that Mr. Pearson gave out conditional use approval, being a permitted use subject to compliance with the specific standards, which we believe we have demonstrated, and why I don't want to minimize some of the comments that the neighbors made regarding traffic-related issues. I will say that there are a number of permitted uses by right in this particular zoning district that we believe are much more intensive in comparison to this use, including retail and drive-through restaurant and warehousing, trucking, distribution facility, and even educational schools are permitted by right. So we do think that this really is an appropriate use. We think there's a need for it. Obviously, it's my client at her own risk. If for some reason it doesn't, or she doesn't have staffing and she can't get a license, then obviously that's at her risk. But we don't believe that's going to be the case. We think it's going to be a great asset to the community. And again, they've done a number of these facilities and they know how they run. They know what their population base is and what their staffing needs are. And we do think that we meet all the applicable requirements of the ordinance. Thank you.
At this point in time, where we close the record for the conditional use hearing, I would ask the applicant to submit a proposed resolution to myself so the board can consider that. The matter will be considered at the next council meeting in February at the regular meeting, which is the second Thursday of the month.
Correct. Yep. I'm just finding the date for it, the 9th, February 9th. So that concludes our meeting. We need a motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That's right. Sorry about that, guy. I'm glad you reminded. It's been a busy night. Sorry about that, guys, ladies. I'd like to take a moment right now. We lost one of our colleagues here in Upper Chichester, our chief EMS medic. 8 years ago, they came to us. Board of Commissioners started their own medic unit here with the help of Bootham Fire Company. This individual, Michael Lynch, was actually injured on the job and never really got through it all. And we lost a good guy. Implemented a lot of things for Upper Chichester in the EMS service, and there's a lot of more things we need to keep going in his memory. But I just want to take a moment of silence for Mike Lynch, our chief EMS personnel. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Upper Chichester Commissioners Board of Commissioners meeting, January 12th, 2023. George, can you do roll call, please?
Sure thing. Commissioner Baco,
Here.
Commissioner Godioso,
Here.
Commissioner Burkowski,
Here.
Commissioner Neary,
Here.
Commissioner Whitaker, Lisa Catania, Michael Pierce,
Here.
and myself, George Needles, present.
Thank you. Before we get started with our meeting tonight, we have a presentation tonight. One of our residents, we have a proclamation to Jessica Smith for her efforts in creating material and training for the local police departments and first responders to better communicate with individuals with special needs. Just before we read this, Mr. Neary is going to be presenting this to Jessica tonight. I sent it out to the Board of Commissioners, and I'm not sure if anybody here or even the residents want to take a look at it. We were hometown heroes, and Upper Chichester was recognized. Jessica was recognized with the police department, the fire department, especially the EMS service. It's a way of communication, as I just stated. The young lady has been recognized from the western part of Pennsylvania, from Virginia. I'm sure the phone calls have been coming all around. It's great that Jessica, who also, and I know it's been on there, has autism, and it's a special need for better communication, not just for the EMS, but the officers throughout the whole. And it's amazing. Sitting up here, we have a lot on our plate. And I'm proud to say that you put us on a map a couple of weeks ago. It's a great thing to have for the firemen, the EMS, and the police. And to know other people across the state and even Virginia has seen the program on Hometown Heroes and are requesting your product. So hopefully it all works out. Miss Jessica, we will be down to present you this proclamation.
Well, I'm going to read it from here because
Okay.
I don't want to hold the mic and read it. So I'll read it, then we'll come down and present it to you. Okay, Jess? Whereas the Township of Upper Chichester wishes to honor Jessica Smith, whereas Delaware County teenager Jessica Smith has spent the last few years designing police communication boards in an effort to change the way first responders interact with people with disabilities by providing them with a new tool. Whereas Jessica makes the boards with pictures and easy phrases like, "When is your birthday?" or "Scared?" The boards can then be used to help guide interactions between first responders and people with disabilities. Whereas Jessica has provided these boards to not only the Upper Chichester Police Department, but various departments in Delaware County and as far across the United States as Nevada. Whereas the Board of Commissioners of Upper Chichester Township would like to commend Jessica for her efforts in providing supplemental training to our first responder community and changing the way first responders interact with people with disabilities by providing them with a new tool. Now therefore, the Board of Commissioners of Upper Chichester Township does hereby proclaim its sincerest thank you to Jessica Smith for her service in making Upper Chichester a better place and providing necessary tools and training to our first responders to assist them in serving all our residents. Proclaimed this 12th day of January 2023 by the Board of Commissioners of Upper Chichester Township, Edward Rukowski, President. Thank you very much. Thank you.
That's some of the good stuff we get to sit up here and do. I mean, not too many times we get to do better stuff, except for not raising your taxes. That's a good thing. But it's nice to have people in the community that are out there, and not too many people know it, but we're getting recognition now throughout the whole country, which is, I give her kudos out there. Carl, that's your daughter. You ought to be proud of her. I know that. So, but right now, after that, we were open up to citizens' comments. I'll do here tonight at the floor. If there's any citizens' comments out here on the floor, come up to the podium, state your name and address, telephone number if you need us to get back to you regarding tonight's agenda. If there's anybody in the second row that may want to state anything, they could come up to the podium, state your name, and then we'll go to the phone lines afterwards.
Just Robert Powers, Deputy Chief, Upper Chichester Fire Department. 1405 Union House Road is the address. Just want to go over a little bit, review of last year, some major points for this year we want to get to, communicate to the commissioners what we're trying to get done. 2022, another busy year for Upper Chichester. 866 fire calls, 205 building fires, which is not just our local, that is in other communities also. 37 working fires and 5 accidents within traffic. All volunteer company, which is a luxury today in today's environment. It take pride in trying to keep everybody well-trained volunteers. It's hard to do. It like in anything, we all know today, volunteering is down hard, but we're trying to hold the line the best we can, and take a lot of pride in the work and the service we do for the community. and the surrounding communities. Just put a 1997 aerial scope in service to replace the 94 E1 tower. This is a temporary fix, something we're going to use. A truck committee has been formed for a long-term new replacement, but that's way it's going to take a while, and even to order them, a lot of times they're 2 years out. So we're hoping this is just that temporary replacement, serve the best we can for now, and it is in service and doing fine so far. Did receive the 12 sets of gear 2 weeks ago that we'd like to thank the township. Did get 3 sets also, did 3 from each of the companies. So that is an asset. We're trying to switch everything over to Upper Chichester, obviously, for the food and Reliance. Manpower, as always, still an issue. We're trying to push hard for retention of members, recruitment of new members. But it's a struggle in today's environment. It is what it is. We're holding the line. We get response are usually within a minute or two. We have a lot of staffing, which helps, which is, again, it's a luxury to have. A lot of volunteer companies are starting to go under, don't have the manpower. So we are trying to stay ahead of that curve. It is hard, but we are doing everything we can. On that note, we're looking to secure funding this year through grants for improved live-in quarters. This will help improve our staffing, and it helps your response. It's just the future of a lot of the departments. Home response is very difficult. You get limited amount, with people working and everything else, traffic issues. You want to try and have as many, people staffing the station as possible. Get you a quick response. You get that. Our goal was to get that one piece out right away. If you get additional, great. That's a bonus, but we like to keep it staffed the best we can. Always, training remains a high priority with all our members. We like to be as well trained as any paid department. Everybody deserves the same amount of coverage. I don't care if they're in a paid department or volunteers. They need it. So all our members are required to make minimum hours yearly to run. If they don't make it, they have to make up them hours before they can. I like to keep everybody, it doesn't matter if they're 65 to new members to 14. Take pride in that, and we're trying to push that, and we try to keep everybody as well trained as possible. New officers are in for 2023. John Thornton will remain chief, myself as deputy chief. Stephen Cooper will be assistant chief. We have 3 captains, which are served by Robert Repine, Gene Tully, and Bill Caraselli, and 2 lieutenants, Chris Santiago and Dominic Zola. Again, these are all well-trained individuals we take pride in. Any of them can run a call as the chief in the duty officer vehicle. So really happy with the lineup we have. We feel like we're lucky. But that's all I have.
Does anybody have anything for
Yeah,
the chief?
I have a couple questions.
Rob?
Thank you. When you mentioned the retention and recruitment of new members and improvement in the living quarters, can you elaborate a little on that? Do you all have a gym facility? Like, what types of things are you looking to
The
implement?
gym facility, that equipment must be utilized, and we needed that space also. That's where we would like living quarters.
Okay.
Your living quarters, you like to have individual rooms, kind of like quarters almost in college. It's mostly for younger members, obviously, or when they get jobs and older and families, obviously they're not there.
Right.
Our thing is with today's economy too, it's very hard to keep young members that say live in Upper Chi that they can afford to live, after they graduate. This is a way for them, live rent free, have to make, so many hours of staffing, like 48 hours a week. It helps them, it helps us, and it keeps the staffing. Like I said, the staffing is a good big thing. We like to keep one piece, you know, it's not all the time that they can at dispatch they're at.
Mhm.
You know, and that's what this living quarters will provide. What we have. We don't have we have a common room right now, not really great, you know, we're trying to get individual.
And what are you doing to recruit new members?
Recruiting is just trying to go social media. We didn't really go with the schools, all the COVID and everything going on last year. Definitely going to push hard to get back there. Just get word of mouth. It's hard.
Yeah.
I really admit we do. I trying to think out of the box and try, you know, getting for incentives more. You know, the township did help with starting getting 1,000, you know, 5% calls.
Mhm.
You know, it's a little bit, but it's a start.
Right.
Keep building on that and try and get members into it. I mean, obviously, even still, like say, home response, fuel prices are very high. You know, it called, you know, like I said, we had 866 calls. A lot, you know,
Right.
it's a lot of members.
Last question. This has come up, and I know I've talked to several of you all about this. Your background checks for new members and existing members. How often do you do background checks?
Checks are done once their application, they have to have a background check before they come in. I don't think the board has a set amount of time that they, you know, background check. I know they do child abuse checks every couple of years, but I don't. Total background checks.
Okay.
That would be something for the director.
And then how do you handle complaints if you have complaints from members? How do you handle complaints? Any type of complaints that you have? I mean, everybody's aware
of.
of.
The fire end, it's going to go to the chief.
Okay.
We'll take care of it on our end. If it's more, I mean, that's more for the director to take care of something.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
It all depends on.
Yep.
Hold up, Rob. We got Mike has something.
First of all, thank you for your service and all the other volunteer firemen. Thank you for your dedication and time. Just how many active members do you have?
Sets a year, you probably have 50.
50.
Are they all active?
Well, okay. How about how many members versus active members then?
I don't know exactly.
Okay.
If you're going to get, you know, somebody like Adrian does a ton of work, obviously, she does not run polls, but she runs numbers. We have a lot of members like that. Because right now, you can be a member of Booth and Alexander Alliance, so it's everybody on their books, you know,
Right.
so I can't even give you an accurate number on that.
Okay.
For firefighters, for active, I mean, really active, you're probably in between 5 and 30. I mean, there's sets to get, everybody gives you a different amount of time. Obviously. Some are your 1%ers who can give you, you know, over
And-
30% of the calls, and then some you might get 5 to 10%.
Okay. So there's about 25 to 30 active members then that are going on calls.
Get a lot of calls.
Okay. Thank you, Rob.
Hold up, Rob. Don't mean to keep you here tonight. I know.
Keep it going, keep it going.
Nicole's not done.
Status, you mentioned the 3 fire companies. What is the status of the merger?
That you probably would be better to talk to the director. You know, my
So-
job, we're more on the fire end. We'll go to the board of directors meetings and just kind of give what we need on the fire end, and then they're more on figuring out the finances and getting the road stuff.
So then maybe you could
It's
take
not
that.
completed yet, I'll say that.
You mentioned the gear and having new gear so that everyone's uniform, right? So maybe you can take that question back and ask them to come to the next commissioners meeting with a response. That would be helpful. Thank you. Yep. Thank you.
All right, my turn, Rob. Real quick, nothing big. First of all, I mean, I've been banging my head against the wall trying to figure this out myself is, and if you could find out, that's great. Like you said, just to put it on record again. And I'll keep saying it, and hopefully the Delaware County Commissioners Association, we could really start discussing a lot of this because they're starting to listen. And it took me a while to say anything, but you were 300,000 volunteers in the 70s, so down to 30,000. It's probably less today. As Rob was saying, we thank you. I know what it's like. I did it. I give a kudos out to the older guys at the firehouse now because the younger guys aren't stepping up, and it may not be this board, but it's coming as a paid department, and a lot of them are shrinking, and they're doing their best to stay together. And like I said, we thank you, and the guys may not want to hear it, but I say it up here every meeting. And if it wasn't for you guys, and to get a truck out within 2 to 3 minutes is phenomenal. But those guys may not be here another 4 years, 5 years. So
It's definitely a large problem in the county. And I think the county's overall starting to figure it out.
right, if we could find a way for the retention or the recruit, that'd be great.
There's a lot
And
of
that's
additional
the goal.
companies
So,
that, like I said, aren't getting out. We're starting to know they have to merge. And there's
Right.
a lot of problems closing companies.
Right.
It's a big topic going forward. And it's just something, just to give you a quick, it's more, we're starting to more like regionalize. It's something they're going to have to do. Like our card is set up. It's called a 4-2-1 concept. Just on a building fire, we have 4 companies, 4 engines, 2 ladders, 1 restaurant. A lot of like Maryland, Delaware, a lot of them, they're starting to actually push it up here. I saw in the last meeting. So we've been ahead of the curve. Hopefully the county will catch up. And you're relying on one piece from each company. Like the old days, you get 3 pieces out of a company, and then you rely on one piece per company. You rely on your surrounding community. It is the reality of today's fire service.
right. And I give the kudos out to the volunteers because they recognize that, and you are working as one now. But the consolidation is not complete. It will get completed sooner than later, but that's a start. So, but no, thank you very much, and thank you for the report. And for volunteers, 800 and some calls a year. That's over 2 per day.
Be busier.
So it's
Some paid for.
so. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. Any other public comments out on the second row? The third row in the back? If not, we'll go to the phone lines real quick. For public comment for the agenda tonight by entering, let me find this phone number again, 571-748-4021. The number again is 571-748-4021. Entering your code as 357-1690#. The number again is 357-1690#. To unmute your phone, dial *6. After you unmute your phone, state your name and address and begin your comment. The phone lines will be open for a few minutes. Thanks. Take note, we had no phone calls coming in tonight. We'll move along with the regular meeting. We need the approval of the minutes from December 1st, 2022 Board of Commissioners caucus meeting and December 8th, 2022 Board of Commissioners regular meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. We had an executive meeting tonight regarding personnel issues. Just want to put that out there on record tonight. Also, let me see where we at. That's that one. We have a short one tonight. Commissioner Nicole Whittaker will be doing number 8 only tonight. That I got 8 on mine, so I don't know.
It's 8.
8.
That's what I thought.
Consider motion reappointing Gloria Brazel as the first ward representative to the Upper Chichester Township Recreation Board.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. Commissioner Neary will be doing number 9 through 16. Yes.
Good evening, everybody. Like to move the payment of the list of bills in the amount of $666,125.96. So moved.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Consider an ordinance regulating the use of consumer fireworks and display fireworks within the township and providing for permits in certain cases. So moved.
Second.
Any questions?
Yeah. This is the same one that we had last week. Okay. Can you explain section 3? It's the one where it says in accordance with the fireworks about being 150 feet away from a building and that there are no locations within township limits that meet statutory requirements. Would that mean, for example, you couldn't have them here? Okay. All right. That's why I wanted to clarify. Great. Thanks.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Consider,
There you go. Sorry about that.
Consider a motion approving the real estate tax refund for 3913 Chichester Avenue in the amount of $960.43. So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Consider a motion approving the real estate tax refund for 808 Conchester Highway in the amount of $16,947.04. So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Consider a resolution amending the Upper Chichester Township Defined Contribution Pension Plan, changing the township contribution from 4% to 5%. So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Consider a motion approving the restated Upper Chichester Township 2023 minimum municipal obligation in the amount of $85,800. So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Consider a resolution stating the 2023 wages for the non-union employees. So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
And finally, consider a motion of reappointing Joaquin Perez, as an at-large representative on the Upper Chichester Township Civil Service Commission. So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. That's it. Commissioner Michael Gaudioso will do numbers 17 through 25.
All right, thank you, everyone. We'll start out with number 17. Consider a motion accepting the extension granted by the applicant for the land development application for 900 Township Line Road.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Number 18, consider a motion accepting the extension granted by the applicant for the land development application for Lot 3A, Namens Creek Road.
Any questions? Their application's in already then, right? They did that prior to,
They have submitted a land development application, which is under review.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Item number 19, consider a motion accepting the extension granted by the application for the subdivision land development application for 3033 Market Street.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Item number 20, consider a motion accepting the extension granted by the applicant for the land development application for 801 Bethel Road.
Any questions? Lisa, what's the holdup on that one? Is that their, we did the, I mean, we've already done the review and they just have to comment on your comments.
Yes, sir, they
Okay.
have to revise the plans.
Yeah.
Okay,
They were in front of the planning commission last May and have not resubmitted plans since then.
but they received our comments. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
For 650 Cherry Tree Road, an amount of $5,450.25.
Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? So ordered.
Item number 22, consider a motion reappointing Charles Fisher as the Fifth Ward Representative on the Upper Chichester Township Planning Commission.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Item number 23, consider a motion reappointing Marge Omlar as the Fourth Ward Representative on the Upper Chichester Township Board of Health.
Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? So ordered.
Item number 25, consider a motion reappointing James Holfelter as the Third Ward Representative on the Upper Chichester Township Zoning Hearing Board.
Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? So ordered.
And lastly, consider a motion reappointing Gerald Baker as an at-large representative on the Upper Chichester Township Property Maintenance Appeals Board.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. Commissioner Joe Biaco will do 26. Oh, my goodness, I got a book here.
To the end.
34.
Thanks. Consider a resolution authorizing the submittal of the TE-160 application for traffic signal approval with the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation for a new traffic signal at the intersection of Chichester Avenue, SR 3009, and Chelsea Parkway.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Consider a resolution authorizing the submittal of a TE-160 application for traffic signal approval with the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation for the modifications to the existing signal permit number 63-2180 at the intersection of Chichester Avenue, SR 3009, and Larkham Road, SR 3016 / Bethel Avenue.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Consider a resolution authorizing the submittal of a TE-160 application for the traffic signal approval with the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation for modifications to the existing signal permit number 63-3844 at the intersection of Chichester Avenue, SR 3009, and Summers Lane, Butler Farm Lane.
Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? So ordered.
Consider a resolution authorizing the submittal of a M-950AA applicant's authorization for agent to apply for highway occupancy permit with the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation, naming Traffic Planning and Design Incorporated as the agent for the proposed stormwater facilities associated with the development of 4800 Chichester Avenue.
Any questions? Lisa, is this the, down by the bridge that they had to,
This is the tie-in that they need to do. Any of the stormwater facilities within Chichester Avenue
they have
will,
to,
will be owned and maintained by the township,
not this applicant at
not
4800?
this applicant, unless the board goes ahead and negotiates something with the applicant.
Okay, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Consider a resolution authorizing the submittal of a TE-160 application for traffic signal approval with the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation for a new traffic signal radar speed display sign at SR 3010 segment 0010 offset 0929 east of Excelsior Drive. I know right where that's at.
I'm glad you do. Sorry about that. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Consider a motion approving payment request number one from Scaviccio Construction LLC in the amount of $60,220.93 for the Tower Circle Basin Stormwater Project.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Consider a motion approving the 5-year agreement with the Teamsters Local
Yeah,
107.
that's, we have
We're
to,
going to next that, right?
yeah, we're tabling that.
We're tabling that the next week, next month.
Sorry about that.
All right, next one. Consider a resolution authorizing an application be made to the 2023 Pennsylvania Department of Transportation Green Light Go Grant Funding Program.
And this is for Market Street? Or is this?
No, this was for, we applied last year for a traffic signals technology grant that we didn't get. It's for coordination of the traffic signals
On
along
Chi
Chichester Avenue. There is a slight change that Lisa might be able to explain a little bit better than me, that the department is moving away from the synchronized systems.
The adaptive system. So what we're looking at, Al's working out now, the alternate design. So the signals will still be connected, however, won't be under that adaptive system. It will be at some point in time tied in with the control center.
At one time, but not now.
Not necessarily today, because
Right.
all of the fiber is not in order to get that complete.
Okay,
So
thank you.
we're going to be a little bit ahead of the curve if we get this funding.
Yeah, so the tie-in would happen with the 322 project.
Correct.
So this would be putting the infrastructure in so that it can be part of that managed system through PennDOT.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Consider a motion reappointing Robert Ganster as the 5th Ward Representative on the Southern Delaware County Authority.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Well, no.
I no vote for. Future of the
Thank you. We'll move along with the Commissioners' report. We'll start out with Madam Vice President Nicole Winiger.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Recreation, the 2022 rental of the 452 building and field house was $72,885. Our ball fields were $3,125. Recreation programs, $39,683. Recreation discount tickets, $6,556. Donations, $5,750 for a gross of $127,994.84. A few things coming up. At the library, Tuesday morning cafe, retirement seminar will be presented by Merrill Miram from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. It's Continental Breakfast and Learning, January 17th, 2023. This will be at the Memorial Presbyterian Church located at 3217 Chichester Avenue. That's a free event. Come out if you can. Upper Chichester will be doing a bus, a trip to New York City. Again, we did 2, I believe, last year. This one is Aladdin on Broadway. It will be on March 18th, and the cost per person is $165. You need information. The purchase to deadline would be February 17th. The bus will leave from here at Fury Road. Contact Brian Warren here at the township at bwarren@upperchitwip.org. We're also having a cash bingo night here at the township. That will be Saturday, February the 25th. Doors open at 6. Games start at 7 a.m. and the cost is $30. Deadline to purchase tickets will be February the 15th. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Anything to be brought to the attention, Nicole, Commissioner Whitaker? Not, we'll move along to Commissioner Joe Neary.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. The financial reports are available, including the tax collector's report, as well as the police department report, which would also be available at the office. And yes, that's everything I have.
Anything to be brought to the attention of Commissioner Neary? Not, we'll move along to Commissioner Godioso.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone, again. All my reports are on file. My apologies if there's any echoing in the microphone system tonight. I have one thing I'd like to bring up to the board's attention. I believe there's going to be a hearing next month at the zoning board for a variance for a proposed business. I believe it's in the third ward. It's for a salvage yard. But I would like clarification to make sure that it will not be a mixed use. I think currently the property is being used for a used car lot. And I believe the applicant's application is just stating that it is a salvage yard. So I just want to bring that to the board's attention. I don't know if anybody from the board has any issues with this property. If so, I think we need to discuss it tonight to see whether or not we need to send our solicitor on behalf of the Board of Commissioners to attend the zoning hearing board.
Michael, is it a salvage yard or just a towing company? Is he going to store?
I'll let Mr. Needles dive into any particular questions.
Yeah, so the application came in for towing and storage of vehicles. So my concern would be that the property is currently a non-conforming use as a used car sales. So the cars that are on the property visible from the road and visible to the neighboring properties are merchandise that is for sale. In this instance, if the zoning hearing board was to approve this, then the vehicles in the lot would go from merchandise to be sold to stored vehicles from, towing activities. I would say that, it's one of the entry points into the township. It's a very visible lot, and it is located in a residential. While it's on 452, it is located in a residential area. There are some things there that would raise some concerns.
The answer to my question is it's a salvage yard. They're going to store wrecked and old cars for parts.
It does indicate that that's what the use would.
And they are seeking relief with a variance, correct?
It would effectively, I believe, it's expanding changing the non-conforming use.
So again, if the board would like for Mr. Pierce to go, I think we need to indicate that
I
tonight.
would like them to go.
When's the date? They're going in front of the zoning?
It's tentatively scheduled for next, for next month, February, but I'm not certain that the application has been processed yet to go before the zoning board.
Application came in very late, so technically they met the applicable application to go in front for February. It's a matter of whether or not the Daily Times will be able to advertise in a timely fashion at this point. So we are working back and forth with the applicant on that.
What is the tentative date?
February 7th, 2023 at 7 PM.
What's the property now, non-conforming or?
It's a non-conforming use. Yeah.
It's just a used car
Use,
dealer.
right.
And this would have people coming in at 2:00 in the morning to drop off a car, you know?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree. I mean, you could fence it all, privacy fence it, whatever you want. It's still in a residential area and you still have the, like Commissioner Neer was saying, lights in the parking lot, 2:00 in the morning, bringing the vehicle in. And I don't think that's the best location to have something similar to that, in my opinion, and have Mr. Pierce. No, he's leasing this to the individual. He's
The property is
have-
owned by George Correa.
Yes. Correct.
So will we need to formulate a letter on behalf of the Board of Commissioners and that we can submit it?
I believe the appropriate would be that during new business, there would be a,
Motion to authorize the solicitor to attend and oppose the application.
Okay.
so we'll need to do it as two motions because we'll need a motion to add it to the agenda and then a motion to authorize the solicitor to attend.
What is the exact address?
The exact address is 4101 Market Street, Twin Oaks, PA 19014, and is zoned R2.
I'll be happy to bring that up under new business, and I don't have anything else unless somebody has a question for me.
Thank you. If not, we're moving along to Commissioner Joe Biacco.
Thank you. Highway and sanitation, the new trash routes are underway. I think it's going pretty good. We just got some kinks to get out still, work some stuff out. The reports for that department are on file. Sewer Authority asked me to read a stipulation. SDCA would like to remind all residents of the sanitary sewer emergency procedure. If you experience a sewage backup in your home during normal business hours, Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., call 610-485-6789. After hours, weekends, holidays, call 911. And is this posted anywhere on our, okay, we could do that. That's all I have for now.
Anything to be brought to the attention of Commissioner Biacco? If not, we'll go to my report real quick. Reports are on file. We're going to have to do something with the fire marshal this year. Apparently, I said we're going to have to do something with the fire marshal this year because even tonight's meeting hasn't responded back to the applicant regarding the secondary roads. But I'm not even sure. I'm not defending anybody up front, but I'm not even sure if you got the email for it. So I don't know. So we'll see. But definitely. Other than that, if there's anything to be brought, but even Carl, I want to say thank you with your daughter and everything, because I know under the circumstances, you are now our EMS chief to be able to talk to over there and run the medic service that we're providing for the township. We do still have goals that Mike tried to implement, but we're going to see if we could still continue with them and maybe proceed for 2023. As do with the fire department, I don't see them here, but our guys are running 200 calls a month for the medic unit. So that's 2,400 minimum for the medic unit that they're being dispatched. So, right. So we'll try to get the full report for 2022 to us for next month. They have to get all the numbers, but you see it for December's report in our report. So, and we thank you for doing what you're doing also. So if that said, we'll move along to our professionals. We'll move right to the engineer, Lisa Catania, Catania Engineering.
Thank you, Mr. President. You do have a copy of my report. Just a few things beyond what I discussed on last week's meeting. The Wawa property, we heard today that the McKay Avenue work is supposed to be done in March. They're not going to do that stormwater ponding issue until March. The auto zone, we have some of the punch list items completed. From what I understand, there is a bit of a glitch at PennDOT with regard to the ADA ramp work. So that should be happening in the next couple weeks, according to the PennDOT coordinator. The Alliance property, we met with Alliance yesterday, the Historic Society representatives, and I think it was a pretty interesting meeting as to what the developer is willing to do in order to save as much salvage, I should say, as much of the barn as can be done. But we have some ideas for
I
that.
think that barn's a little more historical than we gave it credit for.
The Duncan, I reported to you last week that Duncan was asking to open. We relayed the message to them that we would not allow them to open until such time as the PennDOT work is completed, and they are working on that PennDOT work currently. I do have an email that I sent to the designer, PennDOT, and a few others. Mrs. Bradley sent another complaint. I got photos today from PUT. We forwarded those to the design engineer, looking for some transition. I think I told you last week that Dunkin' Donuts is required. They're doing the improvements that would be done as part of the 322 widening project. However, there's some changes in grades there, and that transition is unclear at this point. So we want to make sure that there's not an issue there as they're coming out of their driveway. They will be they'll be merging into the deceleration lane of Dunkin' Donuts. We just want to make sure that it's safe. We've talked about Gump. We've talked about many of the other items on my agenda. We've assisted with the Community Development Block Grant for 2023. We are currently working on the design, and hopefully we'll have that design that we can send to OHCD to get an authorization to bid next month. We'll be looking at the board to do that in March. I believe we're at that point. We're assisting with the Greenlight Go grant currently. As you know, Tara Circle is about 80% complete in their work. There's a lot of restoration that needs to be completed, but Scabecchio is moving forward rather quickly. The Peach Plum Cherry Street project, the landscaper has been there and trees are down. So that project is moving forward. And I believe otherwise I can report just some general progress.
Thank you. Anything to be brought to the attention, engineer?
I'm going to try and just set up a meeting with the COA at Creekside because I've got no response from the HOA at all.
It's fine.
Okay, and we'll
Whatever you need to do.
move forward with that.
Anything else for the engineer? Lisa, the streetscape up on Chi Avenue in Beeson, are they doing the opposite side also? Or
They are,
I mean,
yes.
okay.
So what they're trying to do versus how they did the last section, they're trying to do smaller sections because of a lot of those are apartments and
Right.
rental properties. So we do have a schedule. George has a copy of that if anyone's interested. Forwarded that to Mr. Baiaco from his request last week. They are probably, I would say, about 15% complete at this point, if I could even say that, maybe 10. But they are moving along rather quickly. They've got sidewalks in and curb in the first 150 feet of the project.
Now, is that addition to the very first part of the project up the other end? And how far are they going on that side? The side they're on
Both
now?
sides are going to be about
That's
this.
as far as they went on that side? Up by Beeson and Scott? They're not going up as far as Scott, right?
They
On
are,
one side?
they are going, trying to think of how far from Scott. I think they're going,
They're stopping before?
they're stopping before the one side before you get to Scott.
Okay, and then they're going up to Beeson
I'll
on
have
the other
to, I'll
side?
have to look at the plan again.
Okay.
We've changed it so many times. Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Now, right, okay. I think that's it. Anything to be brought? If not, we'll move along to our solicitor, Michael Pierce.
Thank you, Mr. President. You have a copy of my written report in the file. Most of the action items we've taken care of. Obviously, the conditional use. I've asked the applicant for a proposed resolution regarding the conditional use to be considered at the February meeting. She indicated that she will do that. I will be participating in a telephone call with the Public Utility Commission. I've entered my appearance on behalf of the township related to the bridge replacement, I guess is what it is, at this stage of the game, and the contest between PennDOT and CSX, just to interject the township's position. If we have any that we want this project moving, I don't know whether or not how much I will be permitted to participate, because we are really not necessarily a stakeholder in this, but I know that the Commonwealth has presented a position through PennDOT, and I would expect that CSX will also submit a position situation. Other than that, everything appears to be in order. We took care of all the action items during the regular meeting.
Anything to be brought to the attention to the solicitor? Mr. Pierce, tonight's hearing, we need to get any of our comments to George and you before the resolution or anything?
Yes, please. Yep.
Okay, so if you have anything, comments on it, because there was a few that were pretty well noted. So, and I had one more thing for Lisa and the rest of the board real quick. I know it's only January, but road program. Just try to get your list together or whatever, what we're doing. I know it's January, but it's,
Sooner the better. We actually have municipalities that have their lists together already.
and I do know that Put has compiled a lot of lists together for every ward. He's done a great job with the maps since I've been on board since 2012. So take a look at it, try to get a copy from him for your ward and try to get something a little, so we're ahead of the game. Are we piggybacking with anybody? I want to bring this up now. Is there any piggybacks out there that I know people don't like it sometimes, but is there anybody, how's your Lower Chai project? Are we even doing that on Lawhead with them? Is that? Yeah. Okay. That has, Lawhead's good for us, though. It was paved with them before from up to
Yeah.
Market over. That's good?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I mean.
Yeah, we did that while I was still there.
Okay.
Just a note, I received a phone call from Pico today. They're planning on doing work on Euclid. Gas main replacement.
Oh, not behind the houses, all those issues, but they're doing gas main
Gas
on
main.
Euclid? I think I paved that, though, so it better go back to
No,
normal.
you didn't. I checked that, as a matter of fact, because I said to them, I think we did. But they asked for the right-of-way information.
Euclid? I did Euclid. I didn't do Broomall. I'll look on my map. Thank
Yeah.
God for Put.
I'm looking. I looked at them.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Anything else? If not, what?
My people put the Christmas trees out on the recycling day.
Okay. So can we get that on social media, George? Okay. Yes. Yeah.
Initially, it was advertised as Christmas tree pickup for the first 3 weeks, but since everybody's kind of getting used to it, so it'll be on, so Monday, the township offices are closed. There will be no recycling pickup of the Monday route. So therefore, there'll be no tree pickup. It would be the next week.
Okay. Forgot about that. Yes, yes. Okay, we'll move along to our township manager. Did not forget you this week.
Good evening, everybody. I apologize that my written report is not in yet. There were some late changes, so that'll be issued tomorrow with some updates with the Act 135 hearing stuff from today. Just with students with the road program, we just need to be cognizant of where we're doing projects and what time we're doing projects this year. You'll have the roundabout project for PennDOT. Will be closing that section off starting in the summertime, and we did get some indication that 322 section 103, there will be some work done on that project in the fall. So that we will have some detours and some things going on in the township. So we just need to be cognizant of where those detours are and what that work is that's going on when we're paving roads. Thank you.
Thank you. Greenwood Avenue. How are we with that, with the open landing?
A call into the realtor, a couple calls into the realtor. I'll follow up again this week.
Okay, thank you. Anything else to be brought to the attention of the manager?
Just if we can get that address, George, for the proposed property, for the variance, so I can put it on the motion. Thank you.
New business. Well, we have to add something to the agenda. Need a motion to add 4101 Market Street.
Second. Oh,
Oh, no, I just said you need, I can't do it, guys. I'm just
you
saying
made the
for
motion. I'm
for the
sorry.
new business, we need a motion
My
for the,
apologies. I'd like to make a motion to place 4101 Market Street on our agenda tonight, please.
Second.
any questions?
Place on the agenda. It would be to place on the agenda the solicitor appearing on behalf of the township to oppose variance request for 4101 Market Street. That would be the first part. Then the second part would be the actual authorization.
Okay.
My apologies.
That's all
I
right.
was going to make the second one you asking us to send you. So I'd like to make a motion to place 4101 Market Street tonight on the agenda to send our township solicitor, Mr. Michael Pierce, to the zoning board to oppose the proposed variance on the property.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Like to make the motion to send our township solicitor, Mr. Michael Pierce, to the next zoning hearing board to oppose the proposed variance on 4101 Market Street.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
I would just ask township managers to forward me the application, the information we have, so that we can prepare that.
Anything else for new business? If not, we need a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Nobody wanted to go. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Good night.